You know what I don't enjoy is accidentally hitting get up while you're in a space battle.
That animation is the slowest
It is.
animation.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Starfield with Normal People. My name's Duane, and I'm with my buddy, my friend, Michael. Michael, what's happening, man?
Oh, I'm just excited to be here. Been playing some Starfield. I actually had a few days where I could not play Starfield.
Yeah.
And that was a difficult few days, I gotta say.
Had busy weeks.
Yeah, very busy.
I didn't get a whole lot of hours logged either. We were talking about this earlier, and I think after our last podcast, I did like one of the longer sessions that I had done to date, and then nothing since then.
Yeah.
So I had like that one marathon session, and then just life got in the way. I couldn't get back to it, but I have been thinking about it, and
Yeah.
I have joined a multitude of Facebook groups about Starfield.
Oh, nice.
I mean, maybe I'm showing my age, but
At least you get to be immersed in Starfield
Yeah.
information and discussion while you're not playing it.
And Facebook knows the algorithm, like it knows I like that, so it's serving me more Starfield articles, it seems like.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's anything from hilarious ships, the ships continue,
Oh, yeah.
to more tips that I didn't know about before, and just weird, funny stuff that people are doing. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and you sent me a picture of a new ship, and oh my God, we said it last week, but I continue to be impressed. You sent me, it's an Atari game. It's Space Invaders.
Yes,
it was
the original Space Invader guy, like
a little alien coming down. Yep, made out of some boxes, some box pieces, and it was so funny. I just love it. I can't wait to see what else people make.
And the scale, people have that's a credit to the Starfield developers, because people are making huge ships.
Yeah, I'm shocked at how big the ships can be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a big surprise for sure.
I need to get in there and start building, because I quickly filled up my cargo hold.
Yeah,
and the captain's locker is full, and all the weapons things are. And this is a question I have for you: if you throw stuff on the ground in there, does it stay, or does it disappear?
It sort of does. So it does. I've experimented with putting stuff on tables. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I know that people have said that you can decorate, and I've seen them do it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly.
Can you decorate in your ship versus can you decorate on your
like in the outpost?
In the outpost. I kept wanting to say colony.
Right. Yeah. You can. So this is something I need to look into, because I had my Galacticat, and I wanted it to be resting next to my pilot seat.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it flew somewhere. I don't know where it went.
Yeah.
It's now missing.
In Skyrim fashion, where it gets shot into space.
I got to look for it. You should know, and most players know this, but if you don't, when you make any changes to your ship, if you have decorated the rooms with items, they go into the storage. Right. So you still have them, but it
counts as storage
out.
Space.
Yeah.
Also.
It does.
Yeah.
What's nice, though, is I accidentally went from one ship that had lots of storage to another one that made that my home ship. And if you have more things in storage on your other ship than you have room for on the next ship, it will be over full, and it just won't let you add anything until you've emptied it out or taken it down.
It's not going to just suddenly delete 50 things.
It will not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
so that's nice. But yeah, I do want to decorate my outpost eventually with stuff.
That's another one. Like, now we're seeing, as people are getting into past the ship thing, seemed to be like the first thing that people were exploring. And now we're seeing more really cool outposts. I saw something that looked like a page out of Architectural Digest, right? I mean, It's incredible. Who knows how many hours this person spent, but beautiful, modern, just everything was well designed, and
Yeah.
beautifully appointed. I don't know how to describe it really, but it was fantastic. It's like, I would love to live here.
I love seeing it because a lot of people are actually, they're sort of complaining about Outposts. I shouldn't say complaining, but they're pointing out that gameplay wise, there's not, they're saying that there's not really a reason for Outposts
Yet.
And we're going to get to that because we've got some ideas and theories about what is going to happen there. But here's the thing. There's a lot of questions people are asking. Why is it like this? Why is it like that? They say, why when I put a decorative cargo hold on my ship? Because when you choose the room type, why does it not add cargo? And honestly, I think the answer to a lot of these questions is role-playing. Yeah. And in that case, it's game balancing. They have a very specific section for this will add more storage to your ship. And then they have another section that's just like rooms. What do you want your ship to look like? And it just so happens this one is a cargo hold. It looks like a cargo hold.
Yeah, like the computer room.
Right.
It's not necessarily, it doesn't do anything. It's just decoration really of like computers. So,
and
I mean, it's part of the role-playing thing, to your point.
Yep. Somebody said, well, that would make sense, except, I don't have a reason to walk around my ship. And they're saying gameplay wise. And I come back to that same answer. The answer is role-playing.
Right.
There's
not a reason to sit there and look at an eclipse, which, by the way, someone saw an eclipse on a planet.
Way.
Yes. And I was like, okay, now I want to be out there and experience this.
Holy crap.
But that's part of the role-playing thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like these things that fill out and kind of, populate the world of Starfield and make it better to role-play in. So, yeah.
I was on a moon that only had, the only thing that I needed to scan was 2 different resources. There was nothing else. And I still found myself flying around on my jetpack and exploring points of interest.
Yeah.
Because I just like it. It's just gameplay wise, probably I'm not going to find like the best rifle or whatever, but I'm just enjoying it. And I enjoy walking around my ship and seeing like how I've built it.
You know what I don't enjoy is accidentally hitting get up while you're in a space battle. I flipping hate that. I don't know. Like G is right next to like lock on or fire one of my missiles or whatever it is. So I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm spamming buttons. And then suddenly like my guy gets up, or no, maybe what it is it's like when I'm getting hailed by pirates and they're like, why aren't you responding?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
wait.
Meanwhile, I'm in the get up animation. I'm like, why?
Let me get back to my seat, please. Okay. That animation during those moments is the slowest animation. And
I can't stand it.
What's
the equivalent to that in Fallout? Because wasn't there something in Fallout where
getting out of your power armor.
That's what it was. It's the same, like
you're being attacked by a death claw and like you're just like let me just climb out of here. Yeah, that was the worst. That would definitely be it. You know what we need?
Too funny.
Please, Bethesda, please give us another animation for when there is a lot of things happening. What
do you mean?
Let him or her jump out of their seat.
Oh, right.
And then jump back
I need the fast animation.
If there's gunfire, if people are firing on your ship, you should be jumping into that pilot seat.
Right. Like show me a little sense of urgency, not this like do.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, it's hiding the loading of your ship. It's an actual loading screen is what it is. So it has to be a set length, but you're right. They could make it like appear like you're rushing and you trip. And so it still takes an extra second or something. Yeah. It's just like.
Just trick us a little bit. Yeah.
There's no sense of urgency in that animation.
It's so funny. Yeah. Well, hey, that could be one thing that they fix or add in the future. It's definitely, look, I praise the game a lot because it is my favorite game I've played in a long time. It is not without its faults.
Yeah.
This doesn't really tie into what we have in our notes, but I just have to get this off my chest.
Okay. Confess to me.
There is,
my child.
did you do, I'm not going to go into heavy spoilers, but did you do the mission for the UC Vanguard yet? Okay.
So is that the one where they want me to infiltrate the
Pirates Crimson Fleet?
The Crimson Fleet. So I am
not that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have not done the one that you're talking about.
So that's what's interesting. And I'll just say this as an aside. It's interesting because depending on how you play that mission, you kind of have 2 UC Vanguard missions.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have 1 UC Vanguard mission and 1 Crimson Fleet mission. Because like many Bethesda games, you can make a choice about how you're going to play it.
Yep.
So it is interesting. Well, a lot of players who have done the UC Vanguard mission will know exactly what I'm talking about. Basically, without spoilers, you get to the end, you have to make a decision. I very carefully made this decision based on what made the most sense. And the other option was like one of these options that's this could resolve it quicker, but there's a chance of a big problem down the road. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take the option that might cause huge problems down the road. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something. Every single member of Constellation, they all had a problem with my decision. Mm. And it's shocking because I thought I was making clearly the right decision. Like, I can't wait for you to do this mission.
It's only one ding, right? You need at least 5 or 6 for them to really not be recover from. You can take like a disappointment.
Yeah.
In terms of like your companion or whatever every once in a while.
Here's what's interesting though. Is a lot of people are like, why does everyone have a problem with this decision? It's clearly the best option. Mm-hmm. Okay. But then I started thinking about it because a lot of people are calling it bad writing. So even though it annoyed me, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say, maybe it's not bad writing, everyone. Maybe they are making a point about sometimes everyone will be against your decision.
Right.
Even when you make the right call.
Sounds like everyday life for me. I am obviously making a right decision on every decision I make. And people are so disappointed.
Why is everyone so mad at me?
This does happen in real life where, you try to make the best possible decision and people are not going to like it. It seems like everybody's not going to like it. So, yeah, you're right. I think that's a clever writing.
Yeah. It could actually be really smart writing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of the writing, like I notice sometimes you get into a dialogue tree, if you will, where you've determined the outcome, I think, of the path of the game, but there's still options. And they're kind of like fluff options, I guess, or just So my question is, how often do you actually go through all those options? I feel like you would still go through all the options.
I would say like 70% of the time. Mm-hmm. Because there's the part of me that wants to see all the content. Mm-hmm. But then, honestly, there's been some times where I just say, I know enough. I'm going to get to the mission.
Yeah, you're more excited about the actual mission then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad you brought this up. Because I actually got a negative sort of situation from trying to exhaust all the options. Okay. You? Yeah. Because
the NPC was angry.
Yeah. Well, luckily I didn't get a so-and-so disliked that. Mm-hmm. But basically, if you see optional, it's not a completionist thing. Because that's how I treated it. If I saw a mission that was like, do this, and then optional do this, like check the computer for whatever.
Yeah.
I always do the optional. Now, 90% of the time, it's going to give you like an easier route. Mm-hmm. So that's why I do it. Here's where it really kicked me in a bad way.
Okay.
So I got to a part in the story where it's like, choose to take this thing to the Vanguard or choose to take this thing to the pirates?
Yeah.
Okay. The game says to make that choice, and then it says optional, ask Sarah what she thinks.
Okay.
Well, think about this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know what she thinks. She's not going to be like, a pirate's life for me. Let's kill and take. Okay. But because of that completionist in me, I go, oh, maybe this is like extra story or you know what I mean? I go and I'm like, hey, do you think I should choose Vanguard or the pirates? She's like, I can't believe you are asking me this.
The fact that you even asked that, like if it was even an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tricked you.
They tricked me so bad because as she's saying that, I'm like feeling very dumb. I'm like, yeah, of course. Of course. Why did I ask her? Of course I knew that this was the answer.
Sorry, bae.
But yeah, I thought that was really funny because they got me with my completionist mentality.
They're like, this will teach him.
Now I know that like as I go through the story. Now I know if I'm like, I already know what this person's going to say. I ain't doing it. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's been, that actually makes me think of a scene in Baldur's Gate where there was a child who was playing like stealing stuff or whatever, and there was the dialogue option of having them repeat the coin flip over and over and over. And I was like, how far can I take this? I think I did it like 6 or 7 times. And the kids just like, it went to the same one after like the 4th one.
Right.
But it had 4 separate responses up to that point, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it was like exhausting that character. You know, it was funny to sometimes try to push those dialogue trees to see where you can take them. But yeah. So since I mentioned that other game, should we talk about all the cyberpunk comparisons? And I think even a developer got involved.
Yeah. I swear this week, exactly what you're saying, there has just been tons of like posts in like the Starfield subreddit where it's like, I went back and played Cyberpunk and here's what I think about Starfield. And I'm like, why? Yeah. Why are there so many posts about Cyberpunk? Also, not a hater. Cyberpunk is awesome. But yeah, they are different games. So what's the big one that you've seen a lot of the comparison?
I think it was just that Cyberpunk is a superior looking game. Like facial animations, things like that. Like and when we're seeing, the 2.0 version came out and now it's the best game ever and I'll never play Starfield again or something, you know, it's just silly stuff like that.
A lot of,
And I think we've talked about it before where it's like games do different things. Different games do different things for you. So go play Cyberpunk, have fun with it, or, you know, take a break from Starfield and play Baldur's Gate or whatever.
The thing is that Cyberpunk is a more tight story. It has very scripted story elements that guide you from point A to point B. Now, how you get from point A to point B is very open, and it's even more open now with the 2.0.
Yeah.
And it's great. I love that they have made it even more of an RPG, but people are talking about the animations, and they're not considering the fact that the animations, the mouth matching to the voice and the like all the hand, you know, it's all motion capture. And it's acted
Dude,
out.
I come from the 90s when or even before then, but like when facial animations were just like not existent, let alone having the lips match the voice. I mean, what was the Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2? I went back and I started playing that again, and it's so funny to see those blocky, what we thought they were great at the time, you know, these animations. And I want to say that their lips didn't even move. It's just like their faces.
Yeah.
And they
would just sort of like move back and forth a little bit.
Kind of like, they kind of mannequined around on the screen a little bit. But
Well, in a moment of validation, Patrick K. Mills, who is the senior quest designer for
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk, actually came out and defended Starfield, and he pointed out what we already know, what most of us should already know, is that they are different games built very differently.
Yeah.
He also points out that Starfield is extremely more massive in how many people you can talk to, how many missions and side quests there are.
The general scope seems to be way bigger.
Yep.
Hey, should we mention that not Baldur's Gate, but Cyberpunk has been out for 2 years now also, and that they're finally fixing it? I mean, there's that. So you're comparing a game that's, been out and they've been fixing all the stuff that's wrong with it for the last 2 years to a game that just got released.
Yeah. So. And Cyberpunk, when it first came out, still a good game, but not a good open world game. It had an open world, but NPCs just walked around. The cop system has been completely revamped. Now, like, random encounters will happen. Gangs are like in fights with cops and stuff like that. None of that was in the game when it first came out.
It was pretty rough when it first came out.
And so everything was like motion captured. And so I have to say, for Starfield not to use motion capture, and they didn't, their system where the animated, like the mouth matches the sound coming out, like it's very impressive.
Yeah.
And the only reason that Cyberpunk looks the way it did is because it was painstakingly crafted around the voice actor. So now it's just so cool. Like, just think about that. Starfield has a system where a voice actor, they just talk, they feed that into the game, and then the character will create mouth movements that match based on the sound. That's very impressive.
Yeah, it's the whole puppet animation thing. It's like all the O sounds do this with the mouth, and the M and the N and the consonants and all that stuff have different looks. So they add it all in, and they're able to make a competent looking puppet, more or less.
Yeah. So yeah, sure. Like, I agree. I agree that when I played Cyberpunk and I saw some of the cutscenes and people talking, but Michael, it looks so real.
Guess what Starfield doesn't have that Cyberpunk does?
What did they have?
Keanu MFR.
That does take it up a notch.
If you like your woes, then
he's so good in that too. It's so fun to hear him be Johnny Silverhand. I do love that.
Maybe we'll get a celebrity and sprinkled in Starfield at some point.
No. Yeah. Well, that's what's funny is that's why they kind of, not to say that they don't get celebrities, because they do, but a lot of times they won't get huge celebrities to play a main character in a Bethesda game because it's so much work. It requires a lot of time.
Yeah.
You have to come in and record so much.
There's a breathtaking amount of dialogue in this game, just in the small amount that I've explored.
Yeah.
And I haven't even touched on the other 3 main characters yet. So
yeah, it's
gonna be fun to explore those.
It's absolutely insane.
By the way, I'm loving the AI representations of the 4 main characters. Have you seen these where it's like they just feed it into the one of these AI paint programs, and they look amazing, like Sarah and Barrett. I mean, they just look so cool and so human-like. And I'll send it to you.
I need to see that. Post it. Yeah, that's cool. Well, the thing is, we have all these things that we talk about that we want to come to the game. And what's very cool is Bethesda has stated that they've planned to support and add to this game for the next 5 years.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. I mean, that's like a Grand Theft Auto dedication.
Yeah. because
GTA made so much money that they are able to release all these updates and ongoing things for it for a decade after the fact.
Yeah,
So,
especially GTA Online. Yeah,
Mhm.
GTA Online, and they probably make so much money because they sell like in-game currency and.
Right.
But
I don't think
yeah,
we'll see Bethesda do that. That's never happened with Bethesda stuff. But oh wait,
not well. They do the
all in
Creation
Fallout.
Club.
Yeah, Creation Club, right?
They do the Creation Club. I'm okay with that, and somebody listener, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the modders that are basically inducted into the Creation Club, I believe they make some money on that.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
They should.
And so that's very cool. It's a very cool way for the modding community to sort of come in and have some ownership and make a little bit of money. Dude, the things in the Creation Club are not that expensive. It's like pretty cheap. And I'm not trying to defend like horse armor or anything like that.
Yes, the famed horse armor. How much was it? $19 or something like that?
I don't know.
It was up there.
I think it was like 5. I don't know. But it was just like, it just set a bad, it was a bad taste.
Yeah.
Because it was like, why is it not in the game already?
Yeah.
But I will say that I know that personally, yeah, we all want stuff to come to us for free. But personally, if I love a game and I'm still playing it, and then something comes out and it's like, hey, you can add this to your game for $5. $5 here, $5 there. If I'm playing a game after 3 or 4 years, dude,
Yeah, that's
why
nothing.
is it not worth it to just?
That's less than a Starbucks. Come on.
Yeah.
And you were saying there was one modder who actually became a developer.
It says so. The headline is funny because it says Skyrim's cheese house architect and clutter
the cheese
curator, brought their powers to Starfield. So this was Emi Junkari was a Skyrim modder, and now was the official like junk and item placer.
Okay.
In Starfield.
Nice.
And that
I thought it was well done. Like everything I'm fine. We've said that before. And
yes,
there's clever placement of objects. Someone cared about this job, and it's Emmy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emmy.
Thank you. Yes, because I was gonna kind of sort of joke that the title sounds funny. That you just placement, throw junk around a room, but absolutely what you said is true. It's so well done. I have like never seen a game where random items that you can pick up feel so naturally strewn about in a room, and it feels very lived in. And I play lots of games. Some games it's just a room might look too perfect, too well placed, and Starfield's huge strength is that things feel lived in.
I agree with that. And one way that they do that is wherever you go, you discover the enemy that you're fighting there. And then you kind of find their living spaces, which is cool. It's like, oh, this is where they all sleep at night. And you see like their posters and some of the chunks that they've been eating. And
actually, yes, the empty wrappers of chunks.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought this up because there is a very funny post, a funny and tragic post.
Okay.
From a Redditor named Drink Water Hourly. First off, that's a
good tip.
Great advice.
Yes.
That's great life
8 cups
advice.
A day, right?
But they said that they slaughtered an outpost full of spacers. Okay? Tons of enemies. They go in, kill, loot. And at the end of it, they found a data pad that said, this extraction site is a chance for us to start over and leave our pasts behind. We aren't pirates anymore.
Oh, no.
We're just regular people.
Reformed spacers.
Man, it feels good to say that. We're working hard to get everything up and running, and we're even managing to make it feel like home. Is this what we call retirement? You know that some Bethesda employee was just laughing as they created this They were just like, we're going to make someone feel very bad for clearing out this outpost.
That's what makes reading these little notes that you find worthwhile.
Yeah.
Right? Is these kind of like story elements that you discover. That's funny. Yeah, and it's not like the living space is not the same prefab for Mars and for, every single place that we come across. It seems to be different. It might have the same bed or something. It seems to be,
but there are a lot of points of interest that repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this has been a complaint. Some people are saying, by the time I went to my 5th cryo facility, like apparently not only the look of it is the same, but apparently the layout is the same. So I would actually, I got to tell you, Duane.
You're going to lean on role playing again?
Yeah. I got to tell you, there is a part of me that just says, this is the nature of games. You're going to see repeated stuff as you play more and more.
Yeah. And I haven't, I'm relatively early into the game. I haven't had that feeling of like, oh, I've seen all this stuff before. The main storyline when you're going to the temples or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's been a little bit, repetitive, but it's not bad. Some people complain about it a lot. And I'm like, you're in there so like, it's not long that you're in there.
You're not in there very long.
It's not even a minute probably.
Yeah.
So it's not that big a deal.
It's not that big a deal, but
I haven't gotten the sense of like, well, it's the same prefab that just got plopped down on this planet and the same enemies are spawning in all the same places. No, I have never had that feeling yet. So
I haven't either. I've played a lot, and I'll say this. I don't think if you're listening and you have that opinion, guys, I don't think you're wrong. Okay? I'm just saying
I do.
Duane does.
My name is Michael, and I think you're wrong.
It's just that I personally, I haven't felt like, oh, it's the same layout. However, if they are going to be adding to the game for 5 years, what I would love is for some of these points of interest to be a little bit more procedurally built.
Mm-hmm. They could take the elements of the ice station and make one main module and then have all these other modules that somehow join into it.
So that is something that I would like to see. I think that would be very cool. Like, wow, maybe they're 2.0. Here in a year, maybe they'll say points of interest are now built out modularly. Is that
modularity?
Yeah.
The singularity of modules.
But then
modders are going to do so much too.
Yes.
Right? Like they're going to be able to add all this new content. And I think I saw some Star Wars related stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of that. Kind of fit into
this universe pretty well.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of that. Well, speaking of adding stuff to the game for the next 5 years, is there anything that's sort of on your wish list? Now you still have lots of game to play, but is there anything that you're seeing that you just think you would like to be added?
I'd like to see more scary creature fights. Maybe I'm still early in the game and there's bigger, better stuff to fight out there, but I feel like there could. And I remember on our very first podcast, I think we said that there could be bigger creatures. Yeah. And that's not really in the game.
That dream is slowly dying for me.
I don't see why look at the scale of ships. And look at the scale of buildings in this game. I mean, there's no reason why I think they could have, a giant stuff that you could fight. And with the jetpack and all the mobility that you have on different planet gravity and stuff, it'd be cool to be flying around.
Yeah.
I don't need anything like Colossus sized. I just need something maybe, I don't know, 20 meters, 30 meters.
Dude,
whatever.
What you're saying reminds me of a small complaint that I have, which is that there are creatures that are like hunters or like they come after you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like there are any that are dangerous enough. I think early on I got to a planet and I was like, whoa, these creatures are hurting me.
Right. I'm too weak to really hang around and fight these guys.
Although I will say I actually have not On the star map,
Mm-hmm.
how there's like those planets on the outskirts that are like red or stars
Mm-hmm.
that are like kind of in the red. I'll say I actually have not ventured outward to those particular
And we got to check those out.
places.
Did you see someone discovered a test 1 planet?
Really?
Yeah.
Like a developer
A
test?
developer planet. Yeah.
No.
I don't know any more information than that, but
Okay.
it's beyond. I guess you could cheat the game console command over there.
I wonder. Oh, so is it maybe that you can only get there through either console commands or modding? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you couldn't do it if you're just playing vanilla. That's interesting. I'm going to look that up. Yeah, if you're listening, look that up because that sounds very curious.
Mm-hmm. There's mysteries in the universe to discover.
I got to say that another thing that I would love to see, because, man, I am with you on the larger creatures thing. Because, yeah, we've got that jetpack. That'd be cool. Another thing that I would like to see, yes, everyone is pretty sure that survival mode is coming. So obviously that, but also
which makes it sort of a roguelike.
It could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get 1 life.
So I'm hoping that with that, that would be painful. Well, here's the thing. Before I get into what I want out of outpost building, survival mode is very different in Skyrim and Fallout. So remind me, because you're saying roguelike and 1 life.
Well, survivor
is that how
mode,
it was in Fallout?
I want to say it didn't make you start the game over, right?
It's just that you could only save when you went to sleep.
Is that what it was? Yeah,
that's what it was.
So your save could be a long time ago.
Yeah, you could.
And you could really
yeah.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't lose the whole game, but you could lose so much time, especially like depending on where you are, what you're doing.
This could be a similar way. I mean, it's designed in the same way where sleeping is a buff.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It could. So my counterpoint is that Skyrim, their survival mode is very different. And I believe that in that one, you can save any time. So there's not that challenge, but the challenge is that you can only level up when you go to sleep. You feel cold. There's no fast travel. So both of them that they have that in common, that you can't fast travel. So very excited for the possibility of survival mode.
Yeah.
But my biggest disappointment is kind of like, so there are people saying that there's no point to outposts. First off, yes, there is. Number 1, roleplay. But number 2, you can actually build an outpost that produces money.
Right.
Like you can.
It's supposed to be for the economy of your player character.
Yeah.
More or less is what I'm getting from it. However, I don't know if you were going to get to this or not, but there's the third thing of it's just fun, or it can be rewarding to build a cool outpost on a planet and use your resources to make things.
Yeah.
It's like being a woodworker in real life. You got to go out and buy the right kind of wood, and you have to have the machines to cut the corners properly, whatever, miter saws and all this stuff.
Yeah, why did you build that birdhouse? You could have just made one. Well,
or you could have just bought one on Amazon. It's the joy.
You could have just bought one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the cathartic joy of building something and then standing back and looking at it and be like, I friggin' built this.
Yeah.
That's what car guys do. Some of us who work on cars.
Because Duane is a car guy.
And we get a kick out of stepping back and saying, I did it.
Yep. Yep.
And I can fix it if something goes wrong. So I think there's that aspect to it. But,
so definitely I think outpost building is just fun right now. But
so you do think it's fun? Like how much have you really done?
I've done like a little starter base. The thing is, I do think it's fun. However, I stopped because I needed way more supplies, and assets and materials.
Yeah. They're saying build it on a titanium, and what's the other thing that you need?
It's like aluminum.
Aluminum and titanium.
Yeah.
build it on the edge of those two resources.
Yeah, so I think I need to be smarter with like my placement, which planet I go to. Right now, what I do is I choose the planet that just looks the nicest.
Sure.
But you can find a nice looking planet and then scan for its resources and find a good spot where it has that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that brings me to my big wish list item.
Which is only available in our Patreon. Just kidding.
My wish list item for the next 5 years of content development is give me farming at my outpost.
That'd be so fun.
I want to survive. Apparently, I didn't know this until recently. I was reading. Apparently, you can do some farming. In fact, there's a perk for it. However, it's a little bit misleading because you can only farm plants that are indigenous to that planet.
Yeah, I was actually going to say it'd be cool if you could gather plants from different planets, bring them to your colony or your outpost, and create your own little farm of whatever.
And, we were talking about how there is a building, there's a prefab that is called hydroponic something or other, and you can't plant
Put
in
your
it.
weed in there.
Come on, man. I have to say, me and like everyone I know playing No Man's Sky, at one point or another, we all had to build a grow farm because in the game, there's a plant that's obviously it's called something else, but it looks exactly like a marijuana plant.
Sure.
So what part of the fun
That's
was
actually how you get to the center of the universe in that game.
Hey man, I know how you get there. So I just, I have to think that the reason it's called a hydroponic whatever is because at some point in the future, they're going to add the ability to farm any plant. So I hope so, especially since if they add a survival mode, like the one thing, oh man, I am loving the game, but the one thing that I was so excited for
the eat button
was was to settle down on a planet and have to survive and build a farm. And basically I want to play Minecraft and Starfield.
I love that. Honestly, it could be the case in a future DLC. Like I feel like that's going to be something on their radar because they're smart people over there and they have to have thought of that.
It's not just me. Everyone's asking for it. And you can clearly see that the game has a foundation for it. It's like, it's just all like right there. They just haven't added the final touch.
Right.
So I'm not worried. I know it's coming. I'm enjoying the game. When that comes, I will enjoy it even more. I think what's good about it not being here is that I can play all the other stuff. I can just play it like an RPG, the way it was designed. And then in a year or two, when they add this new element, it's going to be a different game for me.
Yeah.
It's going to be more like DayZ or, The Long Dark or like one of these survival games. And I love those, So we'll see.
That sounds fun.
Do you have any other wish list items for something to be added?
For me, the big inconvenience is when I get off my ship onto a hostile environment planet, I don't have that many spacesuits right now, early game, that have enough thermal protection or like that add up all the stats. So just about every planet I'm on, it's either too hot or too cold. So I'm like, I just take damage and I don't know. That's an early game problem, until I find better gear.
You know what is...
Or manage it better. I have a feel like I've come across like literally 100 spacesuits and either left them there or...
Well, it'll get heavy. Like carrying
they're heavy. For sure.
But once you get the storage then on your ship, then yes, might be nice to have a ton of different suits.
Or just a couple items that I know off the bat or, okay, this is for when I need thermal 100. I add these 4 items or whatever. There
is a little tip. I don't know if it helps with thermal, but there's actually a clothing item that can go under your suit called it's the hazmat suit.
Oh,
So
okay.
what's nice,
I've
it's
seen those.
not, yeah, it's not your space armor.
Right. It's the
It
clothing underneath.
it goes
Yeah.
underneath. It's funny because a lot of players that are, they're the play to win players. The hazmat suit is it, and they put that on, and that's what they wear from now on. I can't do that because I want to look like like a certain way when I'm walking around the city. I can't be
Can't
walking
bear to
around in a
wear a
hazmat.
hazmat suit around. Is it yellow?
No, it's blue. I think
Okay.
it's blue. I've got one. So, I mean, I have one in case I need to put it on. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're a space trucker, and I know you are,
Mm-hmm.
I found something. After 100 hours, I found a trucker helmet. So there's trucker helmets.
Tell me where to get it.
But this was
Mhm.
a rare, and it had a special trait that stunned me because it was minus 25% weight for anything stored on your ship.
Wow. That's awesome.
I was like, what? And
So
so,
only
yeah,
while you equip it. So you got to be wearing it, and then your ship, you could fill it up, and
I
then you can
guess
unequip it because you're saying before that it doesn't penalize you.
it's
It
not
just
going to,
overflows it.
yeah, it'll just
You
overflow.
just can't add any new stuff. Interesting.
What's interesting too is I love the commitment to the space trucker character
Yeah.
because
We're finding more and more items.
did you know that you can take trucking missions from Hopetown?
No. Mm.
So there's somebody that you can talk to if you want to fully commit to Holland and
Hauling loads.
Holland loads, you can do that.
Large Marge, is she the quest giver? And when they pulled her from the wreckage.
That's so terrifying. So yeah, there's that. And it makes me
Nice.
realize that like I'm doing a well-rounded character. And so I kind of pass up some of these very interesting traits that if you focus on a character and you're like, I'm an assassin, I'm a sniper, I'm a trucker,
Mm-hmm.
you could end up kind of equipping the right items and be very, very good at like one particular thing.
Yeah, and it's funny because in the game it reminds you every once in a while through dialogue what you are. I forgot that I chose bouncer as one of my
Right.
options, and
Yeah.
then it gave me, a bonus in the dialogue
Yeah.
to like intimidate somebody because I had that bouncer background.
That is cool.
But I almost had forgotten that I picked that.
I saw somebody complaining about Neon Street Rat, which I picked.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
What
interesting.
does that give you?
So what it does is it gives you different like dialogue options for whenever someone talks about Neon, you'll have these little options to be like, oh yeah, no, I grew up there,
Mhm.
and I know how it's like this. The problem is somebody said that they wanted to role play as sort of a career criminal from Neon.
Yeah.
And they have pickpocket skills and they've got this and whatever. And the problem comes from the fact that the game lets you be from Neon, but all your dialogue is like basically, oh yeah, it's a terrible place that I want to get out of. Or it's like,
Just
oh yeah.
insider knowledge on Neon.
Yeah.
More than a persona of like being kind of edgy and street rat.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the person actually said that they had a big problem with the the Neon Street Rat option when someone was talking about Aurora was to talk about how it's a horrible drug that people need to get off of.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is a bummer for me because I want to be a character that's just like, I don't care what people do. I don't care if people use Aurora
It's
recreationally.
part of their cleaning up the Bethesda universe for this game. Like, if you want
Yeah.
that stuff, go play Fallout 4. It's there. Like, you
Yeah.
can be a bad person in that game.
I
This
agree
game,
with you,
there's,
but
there's
I
still kind of
also
like,
kind of disagree because it's like,
Mhm.
shouldn't you be allowed to play?
and you can still go
Yeah.
murder anyone you want in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Except for
The like anyone with a
Constellation,
name.
yeah, named.
But here's the thing too, in defense of Bethesda, there is so much dialogue and you kind of have to pick and choose. Like there's so many things built into the game that am I going to be mad that they didn't then build in another small thing? It's like there's so much there. So it's like it's tough. It's tough to make like the perfect game that covers every type of character that you want to play, unless you do text only.
Have you successfully pickpocketed anyone? That just made me think.
Not at all.
I haven't. Yeah, have not even tried yet.
I don't know.
I don't have the perk, but I'm just saying, like,
I haven't gotten the perk,
but I haven't wanted to get it because I'm like, I don't know that I need it, but it might be kind of fun, I guess.
It might be fun. I did notice in the trailers and in the direct that pickpocketing would pause in the old games, Fallout and Skyrim, and in this they were slowly walking with the person and pickpocketing. So it seems a little bit more like you have to, like, I like that. Like it's a little bit more of a challenge. The world doesn't pause and allow you to sift through their stuff.
Right.
So that is interesting, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just not playing that type of a character. And like after a while, you only level up every so often. And so I'm past level 41.
Oh, wow.
Or I'm either at 41 or 42. And every perk point opportunity is so precious that like I just can't be
big decisions by the time you get to that level, because like they're few and far between when this rolls by. Believe it or not, I actually have 2 points right now.
Like sitting.
Yeah. Because I didn't level up. I needed to kill like one more person with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Before I could spend it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna hold it, and then I actually leveled up and forgot about it. So
but I kind of like that too. Like I've been in that situation, not with 2, but I've been in the situation where I had a perk point and I was like, okay, I know what I want, but I have to do this thing at first. I actually like that system. I like that if you want to level up shotguns, you got to get kills with shotguns.
Yeah, it hasn't annoyed me. That's for sure. Like I just feel like they're very doable, and most of the time you do them just by normal gameplay without even really trying.
I've played other games. Oh, Far Cry. Far Cry 5 had a system like that where you would earn perk points by doing challenges. And some of them were like Starfield, but some of them, like later on, they had you doing things that like wasn't normal gameplay. And
flying through rings.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it was like some crazy challenges. That's fine for being challenging. I'm glad Starfield doesn't do that. I'm glad it's like, hey, you want this thing, use that thing. And so that's fine.
Yeah.
I think I would be a little annoyed if they were like 3,000 headshots.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
If it was excessive, but it's not. It's usually
not.
pretty easy, at least in the lower levels. I don't know if it gets more difficult. But.
No, I don't think so. There's been a few perks that I've gotten all 4, but not cumbersome.
We got an awesome comment from Pats fan and Pitt.
Pats fan?
Yeah. So
the Patriots? Yeah.
In Pittsburgh. Isn't he supposed to be a Steelers fan?
Do they like Tom Brady or not? That's
everybody loves Tom Brady. What are you talking about? Pats fan in Pitt says, thank you for a great show. All right. Pats fan in Pitt says, thank you for a great show. Listening to your conversation is enjoyable and very smooth. Ooh, very smooth.
Smooth.
By that, I mean no talking over each other. And the discussions are involved enough in Starfield, but not in the weeds. Looking forward to what I can glean to improve my playing experience. Well, thank you, Pats fan and Pitt, for that and for the review on Apple.
We actually had a nice comment on Spotify. So the Spotify podcast will currently it does this automatic poll where it just says, what did you think of this episode? So if you see that, we do notice and we read what you write. So thank you for this comment. We got a comment from Conradical, which great name, by the way. But Conradical said that they just started playing Starfield. And in fact, it's the first gameplay that they've had in 15 years. So here we've got Conradical, who just hasn't been gaming. Starfield comes out and it's like, it's a special beast. But Conrad said you were wondering about a new player's take on it, and I have to say it's incredible. Cheers, gentlemen.
Nice.
So
Can you
very
imagine like
nice.
skipping gaming for 15 years and then coming back? I mean, the change in technology and I mean,
Yeah.
let's take it back. So it's 2023. Someone quickly do the math.
Okay, top games in 2008 were Grand Theft Auto 4,
Mm-hmm.
God of War Chains of Olympus. Now, that's pretty eye-opening because this is before the God of War change, because it's different now. It's a very different series. And this was the old version, Fallout 3. So I don't know for sure because Conrad didn't say what they were playing 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I would guess if they're coming back for a Bethesda game, they were probably playing Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Probably a safe bet. Metal Gear Solid 4, Left 4 Dead. It's changed quite a bit. Like, imagine playing Fallout 3. You skip Skyrim, you skip Fallout 4, you skip all that stuff, and then boom, Starfield. Yeah, that's.
I bet they got married to somebody that hates video games.
That
Wouldn't let
does
them play.
happen. That does happen.
Thanks to everyone that listens on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, and thank you to those watching on YouTube. All links are provided in the show notes below, and extra special thanks for comments and feedback. If you have a comment, suggestion, or an in-game story to share, you can leave a comment on our YouTube page. If you like the show, consider dropping a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. That would really help us, Michael, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would.
Yeah, and thanks for traveling the Starfield with us. Make sure you subscribe because we will be back for more next week.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We will see you then.